Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nelson Karanja for Global Oak Media. Today we have a short Unreal Engine tutorial covering proximity sensor. In short, we use a collision box to trigger 3 events when that collision box is breached by a character. We want number 1 to trigger color change of a static mesh. We want to see a static mesh change color from green to a fiery red, and we also want a fire to be triggered, and number 3, we want to play some sound effect to accompany the above two. And all these are common events which you are likely to encounter while you are creating a game or even films in Unreal Engine. So let's carry on. Let's jump right into Unreal Engine. So here we are. Let's start by creating a new folder just so we can contain everything in one place. I'll call this Angry Capsule because I want to use a capsule that turns red. Let's create a new material, and I'm going to call this M_capsule color. Double click. Inside the material editor, you're going to create a vector parameter, and let's just name this base color. This is going to be very important, so let's keep this name in mind because we're going to need it later on. Let's connect that to the base color. And I also want to turn my capsule into a translucent material, so I'll change from opaque to translucent, and also change the lighting mode to surface translucency so that I can be able to control this. I'm going to control opacity with a scalar parameter. Call that opacity. And we'll connect that to opacity. Now give it a level of 0.8. And let's apply that and save. Next, let me dock this one up here so that I can be able to alternate between my level and the content drawer. Let's come here and let's go back to our folder. And in here, I want to create a blueprint class, actor. And I'm going to call this BP_Angry Capsule. Double click on that. And in here, we are going to create some components. Let's start with a static mesh. So let's click and check for a static mesh. And you can rename it to whatever you want the name of your mesh to be. And then we go to the details panel. In details panel, you can select whatever mesh you want to use. I'm going to use a capsule for now. And here it is. Now, once we have it, you need to compile so that you can have access to the material component. And we need to give it a name. You can search for the color here because you already know what the name of the color is. You can pick it from here, or you can just go and select it from your content drawer. If you have it selected, you can simply select it here and it will load. Now in this case, it looks a little dark, so I'll go back to the material editor and I'll change that to green so that I can see it, apply and save, and then when you go back, it has updated that. Let's carry on and add another component. This time we're going to add a collision box. We have it there. This is box. I'll rename this to box collision or collision box. And then we are going to scale it so that it envelopes our mesh. I'll give it a scale of 5. You can adjust that to fit whatever you want. Then we go and add another component. I want some particles here and I'll use the native ones. So I'll call that fire. Then in details, let's come and select fire or whichever effect you want to use. And there it is. You can position it to wherever you want it to be. And still in details panel, let's see. Yeah, you can position it. In this case, I just want to position there. Then you go back to the details panel and you scroll down until we come to auto activate. We deactivate that or uncheck that. Let's add another component, and this time we want to add some audio. And you can give it a name or whatever you want, sound effect, whatever name you want to give it, as long as it makes sense to you. Then we come and we select a template or we select a sound, whether you have imported or it exists in your project. In this case, I will select Fire Sparks. Then we scroll down and then also untick auto activate so that they don't play immediately, and we compile. Let's go to the construction script tab, and here we drag in our angry capsule. If you hold control, it will just get that angry capsule or your static mesh. Create dynamic instance, and then you connect to that. And once we have that, let's turn this, promote that to a variable, and let's name it dynamic material. Whatever name you want to give it, as long as you remember that you're going to need it so that you can call it when we start to edit in the event graph. Let's compile. Let's go to event graph. Let's get rid of these ones. We may not need them. And here we want to drag in. No, before we do that, let's go to the box collision and add an event. We want to bring in on component begin overlap. And also let's bring in on component add overlap. These two are going to be very crucial for what we are about to do. Let's drag in our dynamic material, and we want get dynamic material, not set. Let's just drag it twice. We could duplicate, but you can also bring it separately. And let's pull out that, and then we set vector parameter value. And this one we connect to the begin overlap node. For the add overlap node, let's also pull that and again set vector parameter value and connect as well. Now remember the name that we said we are going to need, the base color. This is case sensitive, so it needs to match exactly the way it was in the material editor tab. So in both, let's name this base color. And then we need to select the color that we want this to change to. In this case, we want it to be a fiery red, so let's give it 1 for red. And here we want it to turn back to green. So green, we put 1. And let's move on. Let's bring in our fire. We drag in this one. And we get, and then we select activate, so that now the fire can be activated. And we connect that to our vector parameter value, and down here we do the same. And like I said, we could just duplicate what we have up there, but let's just have this deactivate. We wanted to stop the moment the player gets outside of the collision box, and then connect. Let's carry on. We got one more to bring in. Now the sound effect. So drag it in. Get sound effect. And for this one, let's also bring this one for the add overlap. And we select play because we want the sound to play. And there we have play. And then you connect that. And let's get to the lower one. And we wanted to stop once the character gets out, and then connect that. And that's pretty much it for this one. Okay. Now from here, there's nothing else that we didn't need to do. Those are the connections. And all we need is to compile and then save. And then we can come in to our level, bring in the blueprint into our level. So once you start playing, we have our capsule turning red. We see the fire also being activated. And if you listen, you will also hear that the sound has also been triggered. Now these are important events that you could probably need when you're doing a game or doing film in Unreal Engine. Sometimes you want these events to be triggered, and we are doing this through a blueprint. That's pretty much all we have for this particular tutorial. And until next time, see ya. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when we upload a new tutorial. Thank you, and as always, wishing you the best with all your creations. Thank you very much.